Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta today. I'm with Rob Cloutier from the Bass Hole. And Rob, you know, we're going to talk about fishing Frank's track today. And I've been out here for 50 years. I don't fish Frank's a lot. I know the area, but man, the last week or so I've been out here and I just realized that, number one, we got the track that's about 4,000 acres, give or take a few. It's a huge body of water, and it's like no other animal out here on the Delta. We got 1,200 miles of water out here, and Frank's Track is a special place. I think there's been more money and tournaments won here in Frank's Track or on the edges of Frank's Track as anywhere in the Delta. And this is your home water.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at what we encountered today, and then we'll come back and do a little exit.
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
These fish are gonna pull out to these outside edges, more in the deeper water as that tide's pulling off. The points always hold fish. For some reason, it's just a good ambush spot. They can get them left or right of that point right there. They can get anything coming over the top of them, and that's what these fish are really setting up to do.
Okay.
So you can go around just fishing points and catch the fish. Will it relate to big fish? Yes and no. There might be a couple here and there.
Right.
It's hard to say.
So I'm going to take that, Rob, as a tip that you would say, if you're coming into an area like this, if you can find, say, an area of the track that is just not a wall of tules or a wall of straight line of anything, maybe look for something that has some indentation, some points, something to kind of draw the fish to, and then kind of work from there.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see here, main point right there. If you look over here, there's another main point right there. If you just want to target those points, you'll catch them there as well. And you'll see it's a little bit deeper there. It's not as choked up as the cove back here.
I'm getting bit right here and I'm just dragging.
You swam all the way to the boat with that worm.
How do you break this down? When you're fishing a frog now. If you were in a tournament, would you be picking up a worm on the points, fishing a frog through the little inlets here that are holding the surface vegetation? How would you fish just this little area here? You got a point and you got an inlet, probably 2 feet of water out here, 3 foot of water, a foot in there.
You know, me coming in here, we've been throwing the frog all morning. The frog's really not tearing off. It's not really producing fish like I want it to. Oh, I just had one there too.
Worm?
Yep.
We just picked up 2 bites on 2 points like this. Is that possibly a pattern that we should start looking at right now, or when do you start really thinking, hey, we're going to really start jumping points?
It's kind of tough. We've been fishing for 2 hours, right? We've caught 2 fish.
We've been fishing for 2 hours?
We've already been out here for 2 hours
You're
already.
Shitting me.
Yeah, we've caught 2 fish already. The type of stuff that we fished a big flat, sparse tules, current, not current. To break that down and say, hey, this is where we caught them at, it's really a crapshoot.
Not enough.
There's not enough, no. We don't have enough information for me to really put it together. You know, even yesterday, I fished all day yesterday. It was kind of a crapshoot yesterday. I didn't really catch them that good yesterday. I don't really have anything put together today. Just based off of what I saw yesterday and what we're seeing today. It's kind of all over the board right now.
Okay, I got something else because I'm seeing something. I got to ask you all these questions. This is the first time I've seen a big, it's probably 6 or 8 feet below the boat depth, and I'm seeing these big clumps of tules, and in here it's all wide open space. Tell me about that, because what we've been doing is we're seeing that gradual, just lots of vegetation. Now I'm starting to see wide open space.
Yep.
What's going on with this? Should that be an alarm for me that, you know, I should be fishing this area or I should stay out of this area?
So the tide is falling out, right? You'll see we're 300 yards off the bank, maybe 200 yards off of the bank now. So we're a little bit further, right? So it's a little bit deeper where we're at. We're sitting in that 5 or 6 foot, and it's still maybe 8 foot deep here, but we've got big clumps of grass out here. Again, we're just looking for those holes. That's all I'm looking for right here. You'll see it's not true grass all the way across this thing. It's clump there, clump there, clump there, clump there. I can't really see the holes just yet, but I can kind of judge them by just you know, hucking something in there.
You've been out here. This is what you know.
Right.
And this is why it is so tough for people that don't fish out here, I just saw this, and I'm sure you've been seeing what I'm visually seeing because I'm on top of it. You're seeing that 100 yards ahead of the, you're 100 yards ahead of the game that I am. See what I'm doing here? I'm picking up little weeds on the boat. That's how you get asked back. You know, you throw a...
Well, you put them there.
Okay. You know, another thing that we could add is some etiquette for backseat boaters. One thing that I don't like is people standing on the seats going back and forth.
Yes, don't, listen, there's 2 rules on a boat here. First rule, the feet do not leave the carpet, okay? Carpet is your best friend, okay? They don't go on the gunnel, they don't touch any fiberglass, they don't touch any leather or fake leather, whatever those seats are, okay? If it's either carpet or decking, that's it. That's it right there.
That's good. Oh, did I go? Second one is don't throw your partner.
Fuck, dude, don't cast on your buddy's line. Give your buddies room to fish, man. Give your buddy room to fish. That's it. We're both in this thing. We all get eager, you know, especially as you're going as a boater, as a guy on the front to a guy on the back. You're used to casting up front, so you always want to do it. On a day like today, we're just out here, 2 guys having fun. It really doesn't bother me. But on a tournament, we talk about that splash, that being right on top of each other. We don't want to do that. Give your buddy enough room to fish, man.
But I don't like guys getting up behind me and they're talking to you like this. The next thing you know, I'm thinking it's going to be like,
getting a little. Now I feel like we're in that movie where they're making the clay pot together. What's that right there?
The clay pot.
Oh, yeah, you got to get behind me and hold me, and we'll both cast like that. What's that damn movie?
Well, it could be the clay pot movie, or it could be Brokeback Mountain. Or
no, Brokeback Mountain, dude. Fucking A. That's how you get off this boat real fast, bud. We're gonna work our way over here. So again, we have another cove here with close to a channel that's gonna produce a spot for these fish to come in here to spawn, where they're coming off these main deep channels from the winter time. Now, as we come across these spots and we're noticing that we're catching these males here, I'm also putting it in my mind saying, hey, there's males staging there. That tells me that there's girls somewhere else that are nearby. So they're either here cruising around too, or they're on that back side over there. Boy, this tide is falling out. We got to get out of here.
See, this is the cast that I like right here.
Yeah, I'm looking at that too. That one right down that line right there.
Oh boy. Not quite what I'm looking for, but it'll do. I'm playing with fire in here because I don't have enough stank on this rod to pull a big fish out of there. I'm gonna have to get lucky. Let's talk about 2 guys that are coming out here, Rob, and they're gonna fish a tournament compared to 2 guys that are out looking for fun. What we're doing right now, you're throwing that buzz bait, I'm throwing a popper. Let's just say I was throwing a frog. We're not getting bit. Maybe we've got a couple of bites. That should not be discouraging at all. If you're tournament guys, you're only looking for 6 or 7 bites all day.
Correct.
And as long as they're the right bites, you know, you can't get discouraged. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're a tournament angler compared to a guy that's just trying to catch a lot of fish, you have to look at different techniques and bite patterns. If you're trying to put a 25-pound bag, 7 fish day, compared to a 15-pound bag and a 30-fish day.
Right. Perfect example. So tournament day, if I come out here and me and you and we're fishing a tournament, we're gonna throw buzz baits, frogs, and punch the majority of the day, because we're just looking for that 7 or 8 bites for that big bag. We want that. Now coming out here, when I bring my kids out here, when I bring my buddies out here, bring my dad out here, and we just want to catch numbers, we're throwing those worms, we're throwing those jigs, we're throwing that chatterbait, that crankbait right now especially too, which also will get those bigger bites here and there. But you know, typically you catch just a lot of fish on these baits. Everybody that comes to my store, the most famous question I get asked is, how do I catch these fish? And I go, well, see that 6-inch stick bait over there, that 5-inch stick bait? That's all you need. And everybody doubts me and everybody says, oh, that's all I need? Yeah, it is all you need. In all reality, you need a spinning rod with 30-pound braid and a 6-inch green pumpkin or black and blue Senko. And you will have one of the best times you've ever had out here.
What rod would you suggest for fishing that situation. Give me a setup that you would recommend that you can fish that 30 or 40 pound braid, 6-inch Senko. I want the exact worm hook you're talking about, the line, and the setup that when I get lucky and get that 7 or 8 pounder, because it's going to happen, I guarantee you. What's the rod, the line, the whole setup you need to land that fish?
So me personally, I like, this is the 713 medium heavy. It's by iRod. It's the Power Finesse. So it's a 7'1", 3
Here.
power.
I want to check this out. Go ahead and keep talking.
So 7'1", 3 power.
Okay.
Lose Hypermag spinning reel right there, 2500 series, could be any spinning reel. It's a bit stouter rod than what everybody likes. I like it for that Senko. I don't throw a weed guard on my hook. I rock a straight hook on that thing. That is a Decoy Big Bite Finesse 3/0. I like that bait a lot, or I like that hook a lot. It's just a stout hook.
What's the length on this 7.2?
7'1".
7.1.
Yep, it allows me to skip, allows me to pitch, does everything I want it to do. I've got 4 of those setups right there. I really like that setup. Power Pro 30-pound braid, gets the job done. There's nothing fancy to it. I go back and forth. I like that P-line, that Stay Black, the new one that just came out too, but I don't have it on that rod. You go to Clear Lake, you go to Shasta, you go to Berryessa, those fish have a softer mouth. For some reason, these largemouth here, they have a really, really hard mouth. So I like that stiffer rod here. It allows me to really put that hook into them. I don't throw a bait caster, and that's fine. If you want to throw a bait caster on a Senko, power to you. I don't. I like a spinning rod. It allows me to skip it. I fish a lot of docks out here. If you're having a hard time pulling toolies out like I just did with your rod, you're using the wrong rod, in my opinion. For the Delta. My Senkos, I only use Yamamoto. I just don't like anything else. There's something about that Yamamoto. I throw 3 or 4 different colors. Green pumpkin with purple flake right now, especially really like that one. That 925. This new 700 color is like a green pumpkin blue that just came out.
Nice.
I've been exploring with that, and then there's that black and blue.
Yeah, that looks. If I pulled my box out right now, it would almost look exactly like yours.
This would have been awesome. You see that trough in the back that opens up over there? I don't think they can see it. This would have been better. You can see where the tide has fallen about 2 feet. You could see the white line. You see the brown line, but then you see the white line up there.
Let me put the camera over there, Rob, and I want you to talk about what's going on with that area over there.
Right. So now again, we got that low tide. It's showing us she's showing us how she is. You look in the back right there. You've got maybe 6 to 8 foot from the toolies to the grass right there.
That's the black line right at the toolies. You can see where the tide has come up. So that's where you're saying an hour ago you would have wanted to push in farther.
Yep, and it would have been a great place to throw frogs, worms, anything that chatterbait in that line if you were run parallel with it. But it's just a really good staging area.
So we just talked about that area right over there. The tide's too low to go in there now because
I could make a couple casts. I could position right here and throw that frog and kind of work those openings over there where those mud ducks are swimming around.
Yeah.
You know, you could still get in there. And there could be a good fish sitting there right now, but typically what they do when it pulls out this far is they're gonna be sitting here. Now these fish are gonna relate to in these edges where I just threw that worm. They're gonna sit here. As this tide pulls out, they start pulling out further and further. It's either here or within the first 20 feet of that is where these fish will really set up right there.
And you can see also out in this little flat where these isolated toolies are, the black on next the first foot of the toolies near the water. That's where the tide is showing you that it was up an hour ago, and an hour ago we could have went in there and maybe did some worming and punching.
Yeah, especially in the back there.
And you got that hyacinth growing back there. I guess if the tide gets up enough, you can bring your boat in there and fish in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a good staging spot for these spawning fish. They just want to be back there.
Okay, I'm going to pan going this way around here and just tell everybody what they're seeing in here, and we're going to pan around to a point and we're going to go over here, and you guys can see there's an opening here, and I'm going to just start the camera right over here and let Rob talk through what's going on all the way to this point and the opening.
Right, so again, big spawning flat back here. As we come over this way right here, we have deep water channel, pockets for these fish to come in here, do their spawning, kind of search for their male. A couple fish swimming around already right there. So the big fish will come in this trough. circle around looking for a good buck to find a bed with right here, and then to kind of cruise around in this area here before they really position to where they want to get up there and stage.
Talk about what you see when you have this little trough in here, and I can see some water movement.
Yep, so this is a raceway, freeway for the fish right here. They will use this to their advantage, going from deeper water to shallow water in that transition from late winter to early spring, coming up in here looking for beds to bank up on, a bed, a nice place to put their bed here, as well as look for food to grab here as they're getting ready to nest.
So that's what I want you to talk about. Maybe your first couple casts, a worm right around that point, and maybe are you going to throw a frog back up in here? What do you do in this opening?
So I'm just judging by it and looking at it. It looks pretty deep right here. I would actually like this more on an incoming tide, to when these fish are coming in here and they're going to stage in this little pool area right
and all this water is pushing bait in here, maybe a crayfish or a small bait.
Right, pushing bait, crayfish, and these bigger fish to come in here and kind of look around right now.
Is this a good place to maybe throw like a small jerk bait, a fluke or something?
I wouldn't throw that so much here. I'd stick with that top water, whether it's a buzz bait, a frog popper, or just your Senko and your worm and your jig right here.
Okay.
You know, you can also get a spinner bait in here, depending on what's going on with it.
Okay, we got another flat right out here, and we have a point and an inlet. Talk about this whole area, because this is, you know, where we're at right now, this is Frank's Track in general. You can find lots of places like this, and you break them down the same way.
Right. Right, so now again, this here, we are on the back side of it again here. The tide is coming out, so it's pushing out. Again, we have all this water funneling through this tight spot right here. I would personally like this spot a lot better if it was an incoming tide and I was fishing that edge where it sits right about there, and these fish would relate to that as they come inside here.
And we could see where your worm dropped out there. That's kind of some isolated tules leading on to the point.
Yep.
Obviously, that's a spot that people can come in here, and if you know a little bit about the Delta, that's going to be a magnet.
Correct, yeah. This is also a really good spot in that summertime. We talk about summertime stagnant water versus moving water. A lot of these fish, after they're done doing their spawning, will pull off into that faster water and just sit down inside that deeper channel.
Okay, and how about for guys fishing stripers if they're up here? This would be a magnet for stripers.
This is a really good spot right here.
Yeah.
So when I fish striper, I'll run through this right here, low tide going out, and I'll throw that spook in here, and I'll make 10 casts at each opening, and their fish will tell you if they're here or not real fast. 10 casts at this one, 10 at that one, with a spook, boom, 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 and then the next opening, and I'm just fishing these openings because that's where these striper like to funnel in and catch their bait. I feel like that right now, coming in from that wintertime transition to that early spring, these fish don't really want to move around too much. They're still cold. They're still lethargic. They just want to come in here and just sit and just get something to eat real quick and then get back out.
Okay,
they're not moving around too much.
Let's just say, give me a water temp. Is it 75 degrees? You start thinking maybe I want to look for a little more water movement because that's going to give you a better water quality.
Temperature-wise and post-spawn right there, right? We get into that 100-degree weather and the temperature really heats up to that 70, 72, 73, that's when I really think that these fish will pull off and sit in these current areas.
Oh, God dang!
Striper?
I don't know. It must be.
No, bass?
It's a bass. It hit it on the move.
way in, huh?
Yeah. Not a bad fish either. I'll take this one, Rob.
That is a good fish.
Okay.
That's a decent fish.
It's decent. This was a lucky one here.
So now here again, we're on the channel side. So we caught that fish on that channel side. She's getting ready to come up in here and do her thing, right? Either that's, it was a pretty fat, that might have been a male, but hard to say, right?
Yeah.
But it could have been a female and she's just staging here and at the right tide, she's gonna come up in here and look for her mate.
Yeah. The fish that we caught here, maybe an hour ago, could have been back where we were talking about.
Could have been back in there cruising in that area.
Did they move that far?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Whoa. That one hit it way offshore too, didn't it?
Yep.
So, God, you know, we just caught 3 fish, and this could be a pattern here.
Now we're getting into what I've talked about, where these fish are staging in that area.
Yeah.
And I want to throw that drop shot today. I'm going to rig one up. I don't have one rigged up just yet, but I'm probably going to rig one up here. But I think that drop shot, especially on a day like today, should really put them in the boat.
When you throw that drop shot rod, do you go to a lighter spinning rod, or do you go with the eye rod that you were talking about?
So I throw it on a 742, so 7'4", 2 power. So I go down a power. So instead of it being that medium heavy, it's a medium. And then I go 20 pound to a 15 pound fluorocarbon leader. 4 days from now, we have that full moon coming up. So we should really see a lot of these fish should be really fat, like that one we just caught, and should be ready to go here as far as getting up here and spawning. So we should, in the next couple days, we should really see some big fish coming up.
Now, let's talk about moon phase, and I think you and I, we've talked about this a lot. And you like that week coming into the first 3 or 4 days coming into a full moon. You don't necessarily like the full moon a day after the full moon, the week after the full moon.
Right, yeah, we've talked about this before. I do typically like these next couple days right now. These next 2 days are really what I really like the most. I typically catch my bigger fish around this time. And then leading into that full moon, this time of the year, a little bit different. I do like that full moon as well as a couple days after it, this time of the year. Now summertime, full summer, like last year I caught those 2 tins back to back, was after or before that full moon right there.
What do you think about the adage that the biggest males spawn with the biggest females?
Oh yeah, without a doubt they do.
Okay, so that's something else to think about. If you are fishing a tournament and you're catching big males, you might want to stay in that area to look for the bigger females.
So just as a rule of thumb, back over there we had 5 fish, 5 bites real fast, right? Which tells me that there's a big school of fish sitting over there, right? And that tells me again, there's probably a couple good females sitting in there with all those males getting ready to
even
do
though
their
they
thing.
were smaller fish.
Even though they were smaller fish, but there could be 3 or 4 pound females that were sitting there with those guys.
Okay.
You know, and then I would focus on that a little bit more than what we did and kind of break it down.
Okay. Now here's another thing, Rob. I just did a video, and it has to do with bite windows and kind of determining what is causing the bite window. This little thing that we had going on here, was that related to tide? Was it related to location?
Tide and location.
Okay, both.
Puts everything into it. Yeah, it's again, we're fishing that runoff, right? So everything's funneling off that point right there. So it's kind of forcing those fish to sit in that area until that tide comes back up and allow them to come in there.
This is more my style right here. We're about 30 feet from the bank and we're just punching in. Is that your normal go-to, close, in tight, getting, pushing into as much cover as you can?
Yeah, typically, you know, typically is.
We've got a line of toolies. Do you ever just cast way the hell back there and
but
hope
I won't do it with that worm. You know, I'll do it with a frog.
Okay.
You know, something where I've got the leverage to get that fish out of there. You're a gambling man right there. And either you're gonna win or you're gonna lose.
Gambling is when you do it once. I've done this for 50 years and I'm still doing it. That doesn't bode well for you know, my thought process.
This time of the year, they have one thing on their mind: eat, and well, basically 2 things on their mind. Sorry, eat and find a mate.
Yeah.
And that's all they want to do. So they're going to relate to where these spots are for these fish to do that. Right. So again, with that, this is just a random island. It's not part of a flat. It's not part of a bigger system of the Frank's track. It's just a random island that V's off. So you have a channel on one side of it right there. So I would be more interested in this bank on the left of us than the right of us right there, focusing on it. Now again, coming into summertime, this would be a decent spot. Current is big time here, where these fish can relate to cooler water and they will sit up here. But right now they don't want to relate to it.
So if you were just doing like we're doing right now, and you don't know the area, but you're moving through here, you'd move it through here a little faster with maybe a chatterbait or a crankbait, and then slow down when you find the water that's more preferable for spawning.
Yep. This time of the year, yes, correct.
How deep is it right up against the tulies here?
It's pretty deep up there in some spots, you know, 5, 6 foot. maybe 7 foot sometime.
So, so here you might want to put on a T-rig or maybe a drop shot or something a little heavier, or fish a little slower so your worm gets all the way down to the bottom.
Yep, a little bit heavier here, I think.
Okay.
So I said I want to get that drop shot going. So my Senko, my wacky rig Senko, I do not weight it.
Yeah.
It's just straight O-ringed and then wacky rigged, and that's it. But all these little pockets are money. You see these laydowns with these toolies right here. You 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
This one right here, 4, 5. I really like those. Flipping a jig inside there,
Right.
flipping a creature
Okay.
bait inside there. It's just a little pocket for these fish to relate to and kind of hug tight to. Gets them out of the open. I feel like we're getting bit big time by all the little funnels. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The straightaways really, it's that freeway that I talk about where they want to pull up in and out. They're staging on.
We just need to figure out where those bigger females, if they're sitting off, just waiting for something to happen, or because those aren't places where they're necessarily going to spawn. They're just, like you say, the freeways leading to the bedroom.
Right. Correct.
Rob, talk about a little bit about developing an eye for changes in water color, deep water, shallow water, green water, brown water, what that means and what you should be looking for, what you'd like to see.
You know, I typically like a darker water than I do a crystal clear water. Just growing up, the Delta was always dirty for me.
Right.
You know, the last couple years it really started to clean up a lot. But typically I like it that stained, little bit of muddy, almost reddish tint to it.
Okay.
And that's what I really like fishing and looking for. It allows me to get closer to these fish and really present a bait to them without spooking them so much. When it gets crystal clear, I like to fall way, way, way back and make long casts.
Longer
up
casts.
there. Yep.
How about mud lines? Like if you go up to a lake, a lot of people fish the mud lines.
Yeah, for the Delta, I don't really feel like that's a thing.
Okay.
Now Shasta, Oroville, stuff like that, mud lines are huge for those spotted bass. But as far as the largemouth goes, I don't think they like it. I think they like more. They're either they want their dirty water or they want it cleaner.
I'm thinking there's going to be something in there. Attaboy. Good one.
Oh, that might be a decent one.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh, it's bigger than what we've been catching. Oh, that's a decent one. Need me to land that for you?
Got it.
Now, were you fishing the outside, Rob?
Well, that is a good fish. Yeah.
Oh, that's a, what, 2.5?
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that one. It's not worth losing that rod over.
No, I don't want to lose that Roddy. That's my brand new one. But yeah, beautiful fish. You know how clean this grass looks? You talk about, you've been seeing a lot of that grass having that covered dust.
Yeah.
Right? This grass looks clean to me.
Yeah.
That one might have a
This
little.
has some sediment on it, but if you pick that up, it's clean.
Right, it's decent, right? And then where it sits on the top, it looks really good.
Yeah. And it has cleaned up in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I think that's the fluctuation of the tides pushing it a little bit further each day, you know, the heavier tides.
Right. Is there a trough right there?
Yes.
So Rob, in a place like this, do you want to position the boat out so I can cast to the outside of this vegetation and you can also cast all the way into the trough?
Yeah.
How do you position the boat?
So I kind of pull it, with what we're doing right now, I'll pull offshore and allow both of us to get a good cast in.
Okay.
And now typically I'll say, hey, I'm gonna fish this outside edge, you're fishing a little bit lighter worm, why don't you throw it in that further trough back there for us?
Right. And you'll fish the outside with a drop shot and I'll fish the inside with this unweighted 6-inch Senko, and we'll see if one of us comes up with a pattern.
See, now I like this little setup right here, this little toolie clump right here, and where everything just kind of meets it right there. I know we said we were going to cast on the edge and this and that, but I'm going to steal that one from you.
I know you are.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to be a big one right here. This is really good stuff. I almost want to get up in there and flip that too, but I don't think we're going to get up there and do that today. Oh my God. I just had a good one.
I kind of feel like where I'm throwing up there, if there's a fish that's ready to go sitting in there it's not going to take long for that fish to hit it.
No.
The big female that's sitting in there, and it either is going to have a reaction bite because something dropped on its head, or it's just ready to eat. How about frogging in here?
Yeah, oh yeah, looks really good for frogging. You know, this time of the day, this time of the year, not my go-to, but early this morning,
Yeah.
you know, I'd like this at this tide right now, how it sets up versus a higher tide, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many holes and pockets. There's
Right,
a lot of
right.
grass here, but it's not thick. There's still openings.
Right.
There's actually a lot of openings. It looks
I told you I haven't been able to catch fish till I start getting pissed off. Well, that time is about coming.
We're about there.
We're about there.
So coming up to this right here, we have a huge flat on our right, and on our left we have a main channel island. The track is still right here in front of us, but this should be decent right here in front of us on this secondary big flat on the outside edge.
Okay. What do we got in here? Is there enough of a hole in there for me?
Yeah. You know, if you just want to come out for the day, not really burn a lot of gas and just troll around, you can catch some fish.
Yeah, it's usually going to be better than what we're doing. If we stuck, I guarantee you, if we stuck with this all day, we'd find a decent bite window to where we're definitely going to upgrade some fish.
Well, that was the game plan. I'll tell you what, I've seen more fish activity today than I've seen all year.
Really?
Yeah. Just the amount of big fish we've been seeing jumping and swimming around. I had a fish hitting that the whole time right there. Not the one I want. Man, I wish I didn't put that damn frog away. Let you get that popper out and throw it right in between that lane right there.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay. We're set to go. I have about a 5% chance of landing any decent fish if I get something out there. Let's just do this the right way, like a man.
There it is. That's fish right there. Second pop.
Uh-oh. You see that?
Somebody, yeah. Staring right at it, right in the face. A lot of them coming out and looking at it today.
Tonight or in a week, they're going to be all over this thing and the bubble walkers and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Oh, let me give myself a chance to actually catch something. This isn't a high percentage deal, but you know,
You never know.
all I got to do is let it sit.
I like that. I would throw that worm and kind of rip it across the top and let it flutter down.
Yeah.
Then you see them coming up and you know you're about,
Yeah.
you know, like that one you
Yeah.
saw over there. Because we're not dealing with.
There's
Oops,
a
yeah, I
fish.
saw that one. Yeah, exactly like that. Easy, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about all I could do to get. That's about the maximum size I think I could have pulled out of there. But it told us there's a fish in there.
Yeah.
Nice little 2-pounder. So Rob, I really appreciate you coming out and taking the time. I know you probably would have been out there trying to, you know, put a little more of a bag together than what we put today. But you know, we had a good time. We caught some fish. Had a few big fish, you know, roll on our baits. Didn't move around a lot. I think you only got on the
I don't think
big
we
motor.
even fired it up once. Yeah.
I didn't mention this, but you have tackle somewhere that's available?
I do. Over there, there's a little shop. It's called the Bass Hole. It's got pretty much from the ceiling to the floor to the ceiling, however you look at it there, tackle all over the place. We've got it all. So come on down, check it out.
And it is the best bass specific bass shop, not here on the Delta, not in Central California, but one of the best bass shops that I've ever stepped foot in. So congratulations on that. I wish I can congratulate you on a 30-pound bag that we pulled today, but we had 30 inches.
Yeah, we were there. We were there.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys.